Before start, I want to say that it's been a big honor to participate in this giant community memorial collab. Shout out to Shork for making this collab possible. He did a genuinely marvelous job of composing all these animators together, so huge clap for you, man. Anyway, I'll assume that you already watched Team Fabulous 2 Reanimated video. If you aren't, go and watch it ASAP. Seriously. Plus, consider donating some to the charity in the description too. It's for leukemia research, the disease to Colin from us. You can donate there until August 6th. Anyway, by the time some of you might notice my name in this stop motion animation segment near the start. Not CZ, Sauce Filmmaker, Gary Smut or anything. 100% handcrafted. I'll admit, it was painful, but was fun too. This is the Team Fabulous 2 Reanimated behind the scenes. Let's go back to early January 2020, when Shork started this idea. He wasn't sure how big this collab will be, so the first thing he did was ask all the acquaintances he know, will they join this? I am a close friend with Shork, so I get to have a privilege to join this collab without proving my skill of animating. To be honest, my drawing talent is beyond terrible. So I had to figure out how I'm going to make my segment without drawing. While chatting with Yahya Mice about this problem, he recommended me a puppet show with Papercuts. That exact moment, an idea popped up in my brain. A stop motion. The segment I chose was this. So for this, I needed to make each character's paper cuts and a map, which is CP Gravel Pit. First, I focused on paper cuts. For that, I turned on Source Filmmaker, imported the classes, items, and animations. Scout was the hardest one for this cause I can't see shit on the original video, so I ended up guessing it. Because the collab video will be 24 frames per second, I changed the frame rate and exported each second frame that I needed. Cause I wanted to shoot 24 frames per second but set character's movement 12 frames per second to boost the feeling of the steep stone motion. Well, that was the plan. After exporting, I gathered them up and printed them out. Then it was cutting time. Tedious, but I had to. After finishing those 86 paper cuts, I noticed a bigger problem. The map itself. What I need to make was blue spawn of the CP Gravel Pit. It was good that cliff was surrounding the spawn point, so I don't need to deal with far away props. But also, because of that, I had to figure out how I'm going to build that cliff out of hardboard papers I got. The answer was the low poly style. Making the exact triangles for each section was more difficult than I thought, but the outcome was worth the effort. Next, I had to lift up the entire contraption about 6 centimeters up with some legs. Cause the right side path is going a bit underground. After that, prop crafting was awaiting. Let's zoom through this. Panels with A and B side made of cardboard papers, concrete block with the white side of the hardboard paper, utility poles made out of rolled cardboard which covered with gray paper sheet and some details up on top. Wire mesh, just ready-made wire mesh. For the electric wires I used black threads, but a minor problem occurred with it. Because the threads were too light, they stayed wrinkled unlike real-life wires, which smooths themselves out via their weight. By rubbing with wet tissues, I managed to remove major wrinkles, but had to live with those minors. The last part was a spawn loop. Not that difficult. I just want to point out these three. Cutout loop for easier stop motion shooting, frames made out of 2 perpendicularly matched cardboard seats to give it more strength, and these tiny little props. Add on these, steps, tires, poorly written signs were added. So the map was finished! I was so satisfied with the outcome, so I shared this with other animators in the Discord. Then I realized I had to shoot now. To make those paper puppets stand right up, I used this tiny little trick. Wire stand with double-sided tape. Had to rub the tape with my fingers to reduce the stickiness a little bit, or puppets might tear when I try to detach. After cutting up here to make a room for a camera, I started shooting. Like I said earlier, shoot 24 shots for each second, but switch puppets for every each 2 shots to make steep 12 frame stop motion movement. And this was the result. As you see, it's pretty messy. Moving the camera directly to imitate the original clip's shaky cam movement wasn't a good idea. I uploaded this on the Reanimated Discord, and the animator named Sergeant Hagen suggested me to make the camera steady and go for 12 frames per second shooting to reduce the amount of the work. Well, the 24 frame movement was barely noticeable anyways, I went for it. And while shooting, another problem popped in. How can I hang the demo man up in the air? As you see, the stands I made were too short for that. The answer was simple. Longer stand. Longer stand. Longer stand. After shooting with this, I've managed to make this clip. Quite smooth, isn't it? And don't worry about those disappearing puppets. They're going to be out of the scene when they're gone. Lastly, scaling and importing the camera movement. By using the original video as a reference, I finished the job. But wait, I still need to deal with the heavy eating sandwich scene, right? Shooting it was a cakewalk. But the problem came up from an unexpected place. Where can I find that heart-shaped wipe transition? I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my videos, and the preset wasn't there. So I had to check the original video to see what program Kitty used, and what a surprise, it was Sony Vegas all along! So I had to turn on the damned Sony Vegas, find, import the heart wipe transition, and render it to finish the job. This is the comparison. Well, I call it a glorious success! I added text too, but Shork said he'll add them later by himself, so well, he nailed it, so I don't mind. Anyway, this was the whole experience I've had with this project. Had some hardships, improvisations, and outcome wasn't crisp clean, but it was surely a unique and joyful experience. Team Fabulous 2 is such a monumental video in this TF2 community. So, seeing all these people gathering up to make a tribute was just heartwarming. Thank you Shork for making this possible and inviting me into this, and thanks all of you for being part of this one great community. And lastly, rest in peace, Colin. Thank you for your legacy. Uh, Before ending this video, there's one last thing left to do. I can't keep displaying this in my room, so I really don't want to do this, but I need to scrap this.